This live stream is presented to you by MaxspeedTV. All live streaming content that is presented in this telecast is owned by MaxspeedTV, Rudy Cummings, and the entire crew of MSTV. This may not be rebroadcasted, retransmitted, and retelevised without written consent. Please enjoy today's broadcast. ACOG iRacing Street Stock Tours finale presents to you here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, the older version of the racetrack, for 35 laps of racing here for tonight. My name is EZECKIEL.
And I'm Dewey Stram. Welcome here to the season finale here of this Street Stock Tour, and we'll take a look and see where everybody is on points so you get an idea of who has to do what to get this championship. And right now it's Justin Johnson coming into tonight's race with a 5-point lead on Christian Visconti. So they're 5 points back to Colton Zimmer and another 1 back to Ethan Harrison and Josh Patterson respectively. Though the points for this series in particular is determined by the amount of cars that are in the field. So if we had a full 43 car field, say, even Eric Williams down in 10th could mathematically have a chance. But if we have a smaller field of only 10 or so cars, then the amount of cars that could potentially win this title goes way down.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Justin Johnson, he's not present here for tonight. Of course, one win on his resume at Michigan this season. But Justin, since he's not here, that's going to open up the door for a lot of these people to take advantage of this situation. Christian Visconti and Colton Zimmer and Ethan Harrison, all these drivers only a few points back at Justin, but they still need to perform just because Justin's not here. It's not going to be decided between these three. Justin's still going to play a factor into this, because if Visconti can't get enough points to pass Justin Johnson, Justin's still going to be the champion.
Yeah, like I said, it could end up being a difference of how many people show up tonight, or it could be anything. So the amount of people that are mathematically eligible, we still don't know yet, but we'll know, of course, when we get all of the cars gridded up. So we'll see where everybody sits on the charts with about just over 2 minutes left here in practice. Brian Kwan, Colton Zimmer, one of our points contenders, and Kilo Hankins currently the 3 fastest cars out on the racetrack. And it looks like there's maybe 12 people in the session. So I think Ethan Harrison came in 12 points behind Justin. So, I mean, a possibility does exist where we would theoretically have a tie for the championship.
Yeah, that's right. And that tiebreaker is going to be changed. It's going to be decided in on points. So, I mean, not by points, but by wins. And then after that, it will go by top 5s and down to top 10s and such. So, looks like we did get another entry. Quincy Millie does join in later. So, should be interesting to see on how this will go. But, by the way, this is the first time the Street Stocks are going to be here at Texas. Usually, it would be at Charlotte. But tonight, a bit wider racetrack than Texas. I mean,
it
Charlotte
almost seems blasphemous that we didn't end the season off at Charlotte, but I think this will be a pretty interesting race. As you mentioned, this is more of a wider track, and since we're using the legacy version, I think more of the track is usable than if we were using the updated version. So should be an interesting one, despite, of course, not the typical finale track that we usually have. So should be a good one. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, usually, every time, this is actually the first ever season, I think, we've never run Charlotte on the schedule. So, that also goes back to iScar days as well, so, should be interesting to see on how these drivers are going to tackle here tonight, but, I mean, you had basically 2 super speedways on that schedule. You got Michigan, and here tonight, yet again, same thing, so, should be interesting to see on how this will all go.
Yeah, of course, with these street stocks topping out at much lower speeds, a track that you would never consider to be a super speedway all of a sudden feels like one when you're in a vehicle such as this one. So for all intents and purposes, of course, Texas is considered an intermediate, but for these slower cars, it is pretty much one of the fastest tracks you'll find on the circuit. And that'll wrap it up here for practice, so we'll scoot it off just for a moment here before qualifying to play the national anthem. So rise up and remove your hats as we salute the colors of the U.S.
ACOG iRacing Street Stock Tour presents to you here tonight the finale race here at the Texas Motor Speedway. If you're now just tuning in for tonight, you tuned in at the right time because we are about to go green here in just a moment. Currently qualifying underway for this race, and not a lot of people here tonight, so only 13, and still seeing some people logging on.
Yeah, and we were talking about this just briefly there during the commercial break, but with the bonus points available, the most amount of points a driver can get tonight is 20. Of course, bonus point for winning the pole, for leading a lap, leading the most laps, and finishing the race with a 0x, and of course the 3 extra for taking the checkered flag first. So max of 20 points up for grabs potentially for the race winner tonight. And for somebody like Christian Visconti or Ethan Harrison, of course, you want to get as many of those as possible given the uphill climb that they have to try to catch Justin Johnson at the top of the point chart.
Yep, that's right. So definitely going to be interesting to see on how this will all play out, because this pole is going to be very important. You get a bonus point with the pole, so currently that being held by Benjamin A. White, and we're still yet to see Christian Visconti and a fair amount of drivers yet to log in a time. So Ethan Harrison's the top, so that's going to be huge.
And that's one of our drivers in points contention, so tentatively an extra point for him before the drop of the green as we get a look here at the 16. That is Matthew Klein. He makes his way here through the dog leg and across the stripe, and he will slot in 9th here on the chart. Still 4 cars yet to put a time down. We'll see if any of them decide to, or if we maybe have some people electing to start towards the rear here for the start of the night.
Yeah, it seems as though it looks like 06, 80, 82 not going to, and 13 not going to log in a queue time.
Which, if we have like a 30, 35 car field, I can certainly understand, wanting to start back there and avoid some early incidents. But we got a 13 car field. I mean, it's a very, very small field comparatively. So I don't know necessarily what you'd gain by, trying to start back there. But we'll see how it goes for each of those drivers as Klein completes his second lap, unfortunately, after that spin we saw there in turn 1. Race analysis here for tonight's race. Just under 1.5 miles is this Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, this is the oval configuration here for tonight. Noon session time with a pit speed of 50 miles per hour, which probably should not matter. Fuel window also not going to be a factor tonight. Track temp of 103, so it'll be a bit of a slick one out there tonight. So you saw Matthew get loose there on his qualifying lap. We'll see if that ends up being a prevalent issue for some drivers throughout the race.
Yeah, We'll have to see. Last week at Sobo, got a photo finish between Colton Zimmer and Cole Woody, which came down all the way to the wire. Cole leading every single lap from start to finish there. So, hoping to see another exciting one as we get set here for 35 laps for tonight's race. And surprisingly, that South Boston race didn't have a lot of cautions. I expected that race to be a caution fest, but everybody raced each other cleanly, and it resulted in a fairly nice race. Even though it ended in a bit of overtime, but, you know, you get that in ACOG every once in often.
Yeah, you mentioned South Boston is like the type of track that you'd almost always expect to have a lot of incidents. Just it's a tight bull ring, so that's stuff you'd always expect to happen. But sometimes it goes in a way you don't expect it to, and that was a good thing last week. As we'll get a look here at our starting grid here for tonight, Ethan Harrison, your pole sitter. So being one of our points contenders, that one extra point can end up being huge for him here tonight. And Benjamin White in the 1 will line up outside in second.
Our number 2 going to be Joe Berge in the number 83. Ryan Kane in the 55 right alongside him.
Row number 3, Colton Zimmer, another one of those in title contention. He'll roll off 5th and do his outside the 88 of Mark Austin.
We're going to have Keloa Hankins in the 72, row number 4. Lewis Galvin right alongside of him.
And rounding out the top 10 will be Matthew Klein, who's the last car to put a time down there in 9th. And Christian Visconti, another one of our points contenders there, rounding out the top 10. And then the last couple cars on the grid, Len Glade, Kwan, and Quinton Haley, shotgun on the field here for tonight's feature. 13 cars for 35 laps. Should be a nice and easy one. As you get one more refresher here at what points look like coming into this race. Justin with a 5-point advantage on your 10th place starter, Christian Visconti. Zimmer and Harrison also present here tonight. So only the top 2nd through 4th in points present. And I think you have to go back to Matthew Klein in 16th and Berge in 11th for the only other people in the top 20 that are here tonight.
So we got a point spread around like 40 or 50, excuse me, or around there. All right. And it's 35 laps as well, so it's not a severely long race.
It might feel like a long race for those drivers, of course, with how much slower these cars go compared to the vehicles, you know, like trucks or the cup cars that they're used to running here. So it might seem longer, but in the grand scheme of things, should be a pretty fast race. As the pace car will get off onto pit road, and we are underway here at Texas for the finale here in the street stocks.
Field works into 1. And, of course, everybody's going to be hugging bottom for this whole entire race. I don't expect anybody to be... I mean, unless you have help on that second lane, it might go somewhere. But right off the bat, Benjamin A. White didn't have Keloa or whoever that car right behind was. And Klein's going to go around.
And around he goes down the backstretch. That's probably going to trigger a yellow flag here.
Oh, looks like it didn't. He was in the back, so...
Yeah, and we saw him have that issue in qualifying where he spun as well, so unfortunately those issues continue here into the race, and a quick early exit there for the 16 of Klein. And at the line, Harrison will lead lap 1, and that is another bonus point to the 77. We mentioned in the pre-race up to 20 points up for grabs here tonight. Harrison already gotten 2 of those 7 available bonus points.
Yeah, Zimmer... all the way to the yellow line, not yellow line, but that white line, trying to keep Keloa right behind him, but we're going to have a bit of 3-wide action. Benjamin A. White right up against the barrier, just no help there to make it work, and Berge's going to dip out the 77 on the high side, so this will drag the top 3 forward in a single file formation.
And another one of our point contenders, Colton Zimmer, will lead this lap, so a bonus point to the 09 as well, as him and Harrison both. Uh-oh, and we got trouble here already, and that's going to put Harrison into the outside wall, as well as Berge in the 83. And it doesn't look like the 83 is too thrilled with the 77, and that might be an early end to Ethan Harrison's title hopes.
That was, that was definitely on the 77 right there. He tried to come and slot himself in line right behind the 83, and he quarter paneled him. I think Berge's going to be very unhappy about that. I mean... He had a right to be unhappy there. He basically got hooked into the corner.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, there was no caution for it either, so for all that damage, if you go to pit right now, you're guaranteed almost to lose a lap, so not a good situation all around for in either of those cars. So as you see, you got about a 5-car breakaway here at the front of the field. Zimmer and Hankins the leaders. Lenglade up to 3rd after starting back in 11th.
Bergie probably destroyed Harrison's chance of winning a championship right there.
I mean, Harrison, of course, didn't really help himself, but again, you know, Bergie obviously not too pleased, and with valid reason. So maybe at some point we'll get a look at that, but until then, still green here as Hankins makes a move to the high side. He gets Zimmer a bit loose, and we're going to go 3 wide here for the race lead down the backstretch. Zimmer's going to get some help there in the draft from the 88 of Mark Austin, and we're still 3 wide here in the 3.
Yeah, Kiloa there on the high side, and that 06, excuse me, Lenglade, he made way on the bottom as the 09 washed up off of 4, off of 2. And he's probably going to work himself to the lead, and he has a nice pusher, that 88 right behind.
Yeah, Mark made a solid move down to the bottom there into 3, and slotted himself nicely behind the 06, so just like that, Mark Austin now into a podium spot as Zimmer's trying to fight back on the top. And Austin almost touched the door of the 09 right there. And we're going to go 3 wide for the lead once again.
Oh, man, you see the 09,
Whoa,
Colton got
contact
loose.
up at the front.
Ooh!
And more contact. Lenglade and Austin, I don't think those two are happy with each other as they make even more contact across the line. Give the lap to Lenglade, but I don't think they're done fighting yet.
And ooh,
whoa!
Man. You see the 88? He's trying to pinch as much as he can. He's gonna pay the price.
No! And into the outside wall, and he's gonna tag the 09 of Colton Zimmer. That will be the first caution of the night, and another one of our points contenders with an early issue.
Ooh.
So out of the 3 that showed up tonight, 2 already in trouble. And with this caution, looks like Harrison will get one of his 2 laps back here on the restart. And yeah, that was bound to happen with the way they were duking it out there.
Yeah,
And they touched doors again, and one too many times, and 88 got the worst of that.
he was trying to pinch as much as he can. It did help that the 09 was pushing him through.
And the 09 got tagged too, but look at Zimmer locking it down and did not hit a thing. So he'll put some 4 fresh tires on that machine, but all things considered, a very harmless incident there as he made no contact with anything besides the initial contact with Austin. So definitely worst case scenario avoided there for the 09. As here's a look at what happened a few laps ago, and Harrison just wasn't clear on the 83. And there's your displeasure shown by Bergie. And nowhere for Benjamin to go either. But at least now with this yellow, they can potentially get some more optional damage repaired. And again, Ethan will get one of his 2 laps back, so it's not all hope lost for the 77 yet, but definitely has a steeper hill to climb than he had at the beginning of the night.
I got those 2 cars mixed up. Apologies about that call earlier. It was actually Ethan who came down on Bergie, not Bergie coming down on Ethan. Mixed those 2 cars up and called out Harrison instead. My bad. I mean Bergie. Yeah, now down to 10 cars. 9 laps gonna go into the books here. See a fair amount of drivers now coming out on the racetrack. There's 88. Boston. Harrison is 4 laps down.
Oh. Well, I thought he was still on the track trying to gain time back, but I guess maybe he's retired or something, or he had more damage than we thought. So I assumed he was going to restart just one lap down, but I guess that damage might have been race-ending. So with him being 5 down, that's pretty much going to take him out of contention now. So we're down to Visconti and Zimmer that have a chance to get by Justin Johnson in points. And it would be quite the feat if Justin skipped the season finale and still won the championship. So we've racked them all up here for the restart, first of the evening. Looks like Lenglade elected with the top side for the restart, and it'll be him, Visconti, and Zimmer. Top 3 as you go back green here on lap 11.
Yeah, Lenglade decided to go on the top side, so Colton's gonna scoot himself forward.
And a good move there. The 80 did not get a good restart there on the bottom, and he's also blinking a little bit. Zimmer not clear to come down, but Lenglade definitely was. And the 06 back up front.
And oh,
no!
That was bound to happen.
Visconti gets in the Lenglade, and he's trying to save it, and he comes right back up the track into Zimmer. Another car involved up high, caution back out, and that was not good for basically anybody.
Yeah, no.
I think Visconti saw an opening here, and Lenglade just blocked it, and they all ran out of space. And Lenglade's trying to save it, and poor Colton Zimmer just nowhere to go. Had it completely missed, and got driven through there by Lenglade. I'm sure that wasn't intentional, but still the reality of what happened.
Yeah, and
Can't tell who that other car was.
Looks like Lenglade and Quinton both got a meatball flag off of that. Hang right there.
Yeah.
That's race-ending damage for the 13 and the 06.
Yeah, tough break. Lenglade had been doing pretty good, but just like that, done for the evening. So more damage to Zimmer after avoiding damage in the previous incident.
He's gonna stay himself on the track, though.
And Visconti now the leader. So he'll pick up a bonus point now for leading a lap. And judging by the interval, I think Harrison and Burgee are both now out of the race.
Yep.
So I think we're down to 10, actually maybe 9 out on the track.
Maybe.
Or 8.
Might be 8, actually, since Lenglade and Haley both got a meatball flag.
Yeah, they're going to be there for a while, unfortunately.
Take a look at it one more time.
It was a good move by Visconti, you also can't blame Lenglade for trying to protect the position, they all ran out of room.
Yeah, I mean, Visconti was there. Definitely was there, and I don't know Visconti...
Did he have help from the car behind him? I think Zimmer might have gotten into Visconti by accident.
Might have. You saw Colton move out right.
Tough to tell, but that might have been... I mean, it was a very, very small gap that Visconti went for, so it could have definitely been a situation where Colton was carrying more speed and just got into the back of him when the 80 came down the track. So take the 1 degree, and you see Lenglade and Haley and Harrison all still on pit road, and I believe Burgee disconnected a while ago. So I think that leaves us now with 8 on the racetrack for the restart. And it'll be Visconti and Zimmer, the 2 contenders left to try to dethrone Justin Johnson. Will line up side by side for the restart. And Lewis Galvin will be right behind him in 3rd, and that's the first time we've really seen him towards the front of the field tonight. Guess so far all you've had to do is miss the wrecks, and you've got yourself in a pretty good position.
Who knows? We're still yet to cross halfway, so it might go down the drain here in just a moment. But if he does DNF somehow, I think at most he's gonna finish down the 9th, so that's gonna be 5 points, and I think.
And they both have a couple bonus points already.
Green.
That's right.
As we're back green here. 21 to go. Yeah, I think Colton came in, 11 or 12 behind Justin, and I think Christian was 5 back. As you see, Harrison has now got himself back on track.
He's 9 laps down.
Well, I mean, and it makes sense, because if anybody else from here on out does not finish, I mean, after a certain amount of laps, he can pass them and try to get those positions back. As Visconti goes way up the racetrack, not sure what happened there, and give the race lead back to the 09 despite all the damage he just suffered on that last caution. Harrison should be able to latch on to the rear of this pack once they get by. Still all packed up, 8 strong here into 3. Galvin has gotten by Visconti for the runner-up position, as they're all still trying to chase that 09 of Colton Zimmer. We'll put Harrison another lap down here across the stripe.
Yeah, Harrison got shown the blue, so he's going to get out of the way of the leaders. And you see right there, Lewis Galvin now in 2nd spot. He's making a bit of headway through. Has a pusher of the 80 right behind, but Galvin not really too straight just yet to maybe make a run right now. But you see how far out ahead that 09 of Zimmer is. So, ooh, Galvin yet again loose, and he washed Benjamin up the racetrack big time there.
Yeah, Galvin's really trying to hang on to that thing right now, as he got a bit of a second line forming up in the middle groove. That's Benjamin, Hankins, and Harrison was up there briefly. So we'll see if Benjamin can try to mount a charge there with the 72 and maybe take this lead away. But it's also really the first time we've started to see that middle line come to life as a potential way to pass other cars. It's been mainly a low line dominated race so far, but maybe that'll change here over the next handful of laps.
And the 7 made his move, but he waited too fast, and up the racetrack he goes.
And a nice save, and that's going to cost him all of his track position, as he saw the run that Benjamin had and wanted to take advantage of it and just pulled out way too high, and he'll fall all the way to the rear of this pack, back in 8th.
In fact, everybody snuck himself to the inside. Benjamin and Quiloa found a hole, but Visconti is going to take the chance to go up high. Now he has the helper of the 77, a Harrison, who's laps down, by the way.
Yeah, he's either 9 or 10 laps down, but it's interesting now that 1 points contender may be helping another one here. As into 3, Benjamin tucked right up to the back bumper now of the 09. As we hit 16 to go this time, Benjamin swings out to the high side in front of Visconti, and it'll be the 09 at the line.
Cars are getting loose there. Visconti was really sawing the wheel to get it straight. He finally did so, but he found a hole in line and snuck himself to the bottom. And it's Benjamin on the high side again. Does he have help this time?
Seems like a much looser setup, as a lot of people have almost been drifting through the corners. But right now, Benjamin, the only car up there, is Harrison too far back to make a difference in terms of draft. And it'll be Zimmer leading another one here, coming to 15 to go here in the season.
Yeah, and you have to have a looser setup with the street stock. You, of course, is a boggy car, the car's floaty most of the time, and the only real way to be fast is to be loose. So that's why a lot of cars are really sideways, and you see right there a bit of sideways right behind. That's Kame and looks like Mark Austin.
Yeah, you make a setup with these cars, it's too tight. You might as well advertise a dump truck series, because that's what you're going to get with the speeds and everything. So it definitely takes some talent to be able to race like this and also hold on to it. Try to get yourself up there. And contact there between Hankins and Colton. The 09 leads another lap, but a close call there for those two.
Yeah, Hankins is really pushing that 09. You got to flung it a bit tight there into the corner, lost a bit of time, but Hankins was all over that 09 throughout the corner. He's still pushing him, still staying committed, but sooner or later, Hankins has to make a move for that lead.
And excuse my sneeze there as we make our way through 3 and 4, and the tricky part, at least in the way I look at this, is of course Hankins wants to get that lead away, but you don't want to do it too soon, and you also don't want to be too aggressive when you make that move, because if you're Hankins and you kind of just force Colton out of the way right here, you know he's going to want to do that back, and probably more forcefully than you do it. So you got to time it in just the way where they don't have enough time to get back to you and do it back. So we'll see how he handles it. But you can tell he definitely wants that lead.
And the one of Benjamin, he too is loose. You see the car step out there in entry. He's trying to keep it to the bottom, but unfortunately that momentum is just not swinging his way, and he needs a bit of help as well. Visconti needs to go ahead and swing up there to that high side and try to do what Mark Austin did earlier and maybe pinch from that high side. And I think that's really the only way you can make that high side work, is because the setup is so loose. As Hankins is going to swing up high, we'll see if he grabs the lead away. He has help from Benjamin A. White. And they'll go side by side for the lead.
Yeah, good move there for the 72, and didn't require any bumpers or anything either. But Colton's going to hang tough on the bottom, because even though those cars up on the top are formed up, the bottom is still the faster way and the preferred way around the racetrack. So Colton's going to have some fight here, but at the line, the 72 got the lap.
Yeah, and he has the cars to make that high side work. Benjamin staying committed! There's contact! And they got separated because of it. This is going to allow that second half of the pack to maybe regroup themselves and make a charge.
Yeah, Visconti, despite his blinking, is starting to catch up to this main pack again. So you got 4 lead lap cars, Harrison in the middle, and then the other 4 lead lap cars. So we'll see if these 4 can try to latch on before this thing ends, as Hankins at the stripe again now with 10 laps remaining.
I'm very surprised Colton could hook it to that bottom side and keep himself alone down there and make it work. I think if he gets help, whoever's going to volunteer to help that bottom line is definitely going to pull forward. Look at the blocking right behind. Car on the apron, that's Galvin, but they're going to lose some time as they battle back there, trying to get up to this lead pack.
Speaking of getting up to the lead pack, Ryan Kwan in the 82 has caught these first 4 cars. He's the Napa car there side by side with Ethan Harrison. So now all of a sudden, with 9 to go, we've got a 5-car battle here at the front of the field. And we'll see if Kwan can try to slot in between Colton and Ethan, or if he decides to stay up there with that pack at the top.
Hankins is keeping himself committed. I mean, Benjamin's keeping himself committed with Hankins. And I think as soon as Hankins gets clear of the 09, gonna see a lot of shuffling as Visconti's gonna make his presence known on the bottom. He's gonna go to the bottom side, but he blinked out. So, because he's blinking, he can't really make as aggressive moves as he can, and it's sort of stalling both lines out because Zimmer can't get that arrow push like he needs to get that bottom line moving forward.
He's really doing a good job fighting on the bottom, though. Especially since Kilo, of course, is probably going to try to pinch him as much as he can to see if he can hit the apron and lose more time. But Colton's done a really, really nice job of being able to keep it side by side there with Kilo, and despite the lack of drafting help for the last 5 or 6 laps. And he's going to actually lead it at the line, I think, or it'll be really close.
And not only that, for Benjamin in that number 1, I think your only chance to really grab the lead is to help Hankins, because if you're helping Colton's gonna secure that top spot and clear. So it's gonna be very, very interesting as we see the 13 make himself out in the racetrack. So this is gonna add another car onto this lead pack once he does move out of the way of the leaders.
Yeah, and he'll get himself into the top 10 as him and Lendley are the same amount of laps down. So he'll pass him this time and at least get a top 10 finish out of tonight's race. As there are 6 laps to go, as Benjamin is also blanking out, in addition to Visconti, who just got passed for 4th by Ryan Kwan in the 82. So this is starting to get interesting here. And oh my goodness, upside down goes the 7 of Lewis Galvin in the background. And this is going to present a green-white checkered here at Texas to wrap up the season, as behind all the leaders, Mark Austin and Lewis Galvin got into it out of turn 2, and the 7 went right upside down.
7's unhappy. He's looking for that 88. Even though he just flipped on his roof, he's still after him.
As a man on a mission right there. Yeah, I caught it out of the corner of my eye. They were all battling up there, and these two just running side by side behind everybody.
Ooh.
And
whoa!
Right up and over. I don't know why Austin went up the track like that.
I don't know either. You just washed right into that 7, and none of them have a meatball damage, so they're still fine.
And I'm sure none of the leaders appreciate that either. I'm sure they wanted this thing to go green all the way to the end. But Hankins was the leader at the time of the caution, so he'll have control here for the restart.
Gotta stay out in this scenario. Have to stay out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that was bound to happen.
That was expected, as Galvin definitely with some intent there. Finally did catch up to Mark Austin to let him know, hey man, I didn't like that very much.
I mean,
there
it's pretty valid. why the 7's mad, but always have at it, I guess.
This might not be over yet.
Yeah, it's definitely not over, but he's valid why he's mad. I mean, the 88 washed right into that 7, and
yeah, I don't know what the game plan there was for Harrison, Mark Austin, but
I don't know if
Lewis Galvin's definitely not thrilled.
Yeah, I don't know if he wanted to readjust his line because he was loose. Maybe run a more traditional line just to compensate. But he ended up flipping the 7 over because of that.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm sure the leaders wanted that thing to go green all the way to the end, because now all these guys at the front are only going to have 2 laps to make things happen. And basically, the first of those 2 laps is going to be spent getting up to speed, so not a lot of time left to try to advance your position left in the race. And the pace car lights are still on, so this will be an overtime restart as opposed to a regulation 2 to go restart.
So Hankins, I think it's led the most laps so far. It was Zimmer. Zimmer's led the most laps so far, and Zimmer needs this thing. He needs those laps led, so that'll basically secure him an extra bonus point. Because he's led the most laps. Because Hankins, I don't think, unless this good thing goes over 2, 3 green white checkers. Colton basically has more, most laps led point secure.
And that's another bonus point for him. So if the race were to end right now in the order that they're in, I believe Colton would have enough points to get by Justin. But with that in mind, you also have to consider how many points Visconti gets, because I'm sure with the way that the points all shake out, it's possible we could have a 3-way tie for the championship lead. That is within the realm of possibility, and what a way for the season to end if that were to happen.
Oh, man.
I mean, I think we've had a tie between 2 drivers. I don't think we've ever had a 3-way tie at the end of the season before.
No. So we had a fair amount of drivers who decided to hit pit road as well. Or like only a few drivers, so Hankins has the fresher tires than Zimmer, so you gotta point that out there.
Yes, Zimmer and Visconti have not pit once this entire race, and they're the only 2 cars that have not pit throughout the night.
And with Benjamin right behind Kiloa, this is going to look really, really good for Hankins, as Hankins is going to be on the throttle already. Back up and away, 2 laps to go in the back half of the field, or the middle portion of the field did not get a good restart, and right off the bat, Zimmer is going to get left out to dry.
Yeah, and Kwan's going to stay on the bottom as well, so this is not good for Zimmer, as with him being all by himself up there, that's going to cost him more points, and I'm sure Visconti isn't going to want to help him either. So expect the 80 to stay on the bottom side as well.
Yeah, nobody's going to help Zimmer in this case. I think Benjamin needs to really set himself up, but he got loose.
Yeah, almost got into the 09. Zimmer's hanging tough up there despite not having help.
Yeah, and that's because Benjamin got loose there on the bottom. Here we go. Kwan's going to help Zimmer. White flag.
White flag. Here we go.
How is this all going to turn out? Zimmer now has the help he needs to maybe grab this lead away from Hankins. Hankins has a huge push from the 1. We'll see what happens down the back.
Will Benjamin take it 3 wide onto the apron? We saw Visconti do that earlier in the night. There's Visconti. He's going to take it 3 wide for 3rd down the back. Into turn 3 for the final time. It's Hankins on the bottom, Zimmer on the top. Kwan gets shuffled out by the 1, and out of turn 4 for the final time. They are still side by side. Here comes Visconti. He's going to try to take it 3 wide. The gap isn't there. They crash across the line, and it's the 72 of Hankins taking the win.
Woohoo! How many photo finishes have we had this season? Again! Zimmer comes up short.
We'll see if he got enough points to take the championship, though. It's going to be very close.
Yeah, that's right.
Congrats to Kiloa. He played that perfectly. But what a move Visconti made there, not only into turn 3, but out of 4 as well. He had a really big run, but unfortunately just not enough to try to take it 3 and maybe take the win. So congrats again to the 72 on picking up the win here in the season finale.
And going to burn it down here on the front straightaway. Well deserved for that number 72. And it was interesting because Visconti started phasing through the entire field because he started blinking out as well, and he ended up what was supposed to be maybe like a 7th place finish turned out to be a 4th. So great job for him.
As we'll get a look here at the final results here after 35 plus laps of racing, as we'll get the points after the commercial break. Kiloa Hankins, your winner here in the finale race. Colton Zimmer just comes up short there in 2nd. Stay tuned to see if he ends up winning the title or not. Benjamin White in 3rd. Christian Visconti in 4th. We'll see if he got enough points as well out of this whole thing. Ryan Kame rounds out the top 5. Ryan Kwan there in 6th. Lewis Galvin, Mark Austin, Ethan Harrison, and Quinton Haley round out the top 10. And then the last couple cars here on the grid, Jasper Lenglade, Joe Burgee, and Matthew Klein rounds out the field. So a very short one here tonight. Stay tuned, of course, as we'll be right back after this short break with the final points tally and some interviews. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled on the screen.
And we welcome everybody back here live for the ACOG iRacing Street Stock Tour. Gonna go ahead and drag into the booth our winners and interviewees inside. Congratulations to Kilo Hankins for winning the championship. I mean, not championship, what the heck? The race here for tonight. We'll go ahead and drag him in. Hey, Kilo, congratulations on your win here for tonight. What a huge victory, picking it up over Colton Zimmer, which ended up deciding the championship, by the way. Congratulations, Kilo. First thoughts?
I just like to say I wasn't sure if I was going to race tonight, but just decided to clear some things off my mind, and I'm really glad I did. I'm glad to have Benjamin A. White helping me push me through on the outside on the second to final race, so that's probably what decided the race. So I'm just happy. I mean, you got to have allies for combinations like this, and I think it worked out.
It definitely worked out for you. You led 12 laps out of the schedule, 36 here for tonight, and result yourself in the victory lane as Benjamin. Your man in hand finished in third. So talk to me through that final restart.
The final restart was about just keeping the inside. I knew that dog was behind me on the inside, and as long as I didn't drift up and like give Colton any draft, I felt like I would have been fine. I was kind of concerned in the three when people started taking dog three wide, and Colton had a really good pusher behind him, but I just kept my composure and just stuck it to the inside and just tried to drift up on the tri-roll as much as I can to gain every advantage I could get.
And it worked out for you, Hankins. Congratulations for your first win here in the finale in the Street Stock season. Before I let you go, any much you want to thank you for tonight?
Not necessarily. I definitely got to change my car scheme now before too long. But it's kind of unfortunate. If I knew the situation that Colton Zimmer was in, kind of sucks that he lost the championship by that short. But I mean, I think it was overall a really good race up front, other than all the stupid blocking in the beginning. But it is what it is.
That's right. Hankins rounds himself out in victory lane. Congratulations, man. We'll go ahead and see you over next race.
All right, thank you, guys.
Go ahead, screw ourselves back one to Colton Zimmer in the number 09, and into the booth he goes. Colton, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Colton, it all came down all the way to the wire to decide that championship, and unfortunately, you came up short twice in a row. You came up short to Cole Woody at South Boston, but here again, coming up short at Texas to Kilo Hankins. Has to feel very sour, and of course, coming home just 2 points shy of a championship. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I honestly didn't even know I was running for a championship. I just went in there, was wanting to win. Came up short again, though. I think the first race of the season I joined, but I was late, so I just quit. So I think if I didn't do that, I probably could have been higher up in points or won the championship. But disappointing, I couldn't win. I've gotten third, second, and second the past 3 weeks. But overall, very fun race. Got spun out twice there. I'm glad I didn't have a lot of damage. But just good race overall. Congrats to Cole on the win and Christian on the championship.
Yeah, and it all came down to that final restart, all the way to the end. Talk me through those final 2 laps.
Yeah, I wish I could have been leading there, but no one was pushing me. Everyone just went high those last few laps. But once we did get to those final laps, I had the blue car, I forgot his name, behind me, pushing me. But it just, once he got shuffled out to 3 wide, I lost all my help. And the bottom lane was just as equal as the top was. So I didn't get enough of a run, and I just came up short. Very unfortunate, but...
Yeah, I became up short here tonight, but you led a handful amount of laps. 13 here for tonight. Congratulations about that. But before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank here for the race and season?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Brian Hicks Driving Experience, Elite Performance Industries, the Put It Out Esports team, Jasper, Richie, Thomas, all of them who just helped me throughout the races, throughout the season. Disappointing, couldn't win the championship, but we will move on.
All right, about 10-4. Colton Zimmer rounds himself out in the second spot. We'll go ahead and see you come to the next race, man.
Yep, thank you.
We'll go ahead and drag in our third place driver of Benjamin A. White into the booth. He goes. He was helping Kilo Hankins for the entire event, or that whole entire back half of the event, and it resulted not only in Kiloa in victory lane, but you resulting in a third place finish here for tonight. Congratulations, Benjamin, for your third place finish here. Talk to me about tonight.
Well, I ain't really a fan of this track to begin with, and when I seen street stocks were coming here, I was like, okay, the outside's going to be completely useless. But me and Co were able to make it work. I'm gonna be honest, that was actually fun trying to get him out in front of Colton. Like we just made that our goal because at the start of the race, Ethan Harrison just dumped Joe Burgee in front of me, and I clobbered him and got like 40 seconds of damage repaired. So I knew if I got out front, I'd just be a parachute holding everybody up. So I just made it my goal to help Co in any way because we were communicating with each other. But I mean, the goal was to get him in victory lane, and I wasn't able to be the pusher for him, but he still ended up winning. So that's a good thing. I think that caution really helped us right at the end there because it put him in the lead for the restart, and he had just enough of a buffer, I guess, to get himself the win.
Yep, that's all right. And Benjamin, of course, you were the pusher, that number 72, most of the race, and you said it was. You said you thought it was going to be a bottom line race. What made you work that second line?
Well, it was the only way you were going to pass Colton because he'd block you down to the inside wall if he had to. So we knew he'd have to be passed on the outside. So I told Co to go up, and I'd do my best to try and get him past. And I feel like we caught a break with that caution, but I think either way I would have been able to push him to the win there.
All right, about 10-4. Benjamin A. White rounds himself out in third spot. Before I let you go, any sponsors you want to thank here throughout the season?
I want to thank my Road to Pro team, Nexus Esports, and I want to thank Splash and Go Graphics. You'll see this absolutely amazing paint scheme later tonight in the Super Speedway race. So thank you, Cosman, for that wonderful paint scheme. Other than that, I think that's all to thank. Oh, as well as you both for putting on the broadcast as well.
All right, about 10-4. Benjamin A. White rounds himself out third. Go ahead and see your kind of next race, man.
Yep, see you in a few hours when I win the next race, too.
Yeah. All right, we'll drag in Christian Visconti, your champion here for tonight's Street Stock Tour. Booth he goes. Christian, man, it all came down to that final lap to decide that championship, and indeed it did so. Colton came up short, and you phased through everybody while blinking into a fourth place spot, man. Congratulations, Christian. First thoughts.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I gotta get this internet figured out because I lost the spot at the end there because of it. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't enter this season to win the title. I kind of just did it for fun and found myself in the thick of it, and was fortunate enough to win the title. So that's always fun. I wanted to Ethan Harrison and Quentin Haley there in the race with me, and Tyson Gifford with Limeade Media. For those of you watching, definitely follow him on Instagram. He posts some really great, pictures and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. This is just, I didn't expect to win this title, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and consistency played off a huge role into your title hopes here for tonight. You had the most top 10s out of everybody in the standings, with 5 of them out of 6 starts. So that definitely had to help you, especially coming into a very tight-knit championship at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was really close. I bet if Justin was here, I probably wouldn't be here, but, I missed a race too, so I guess it all evens out in the end.
Yep, that's right, and it results you in that number 80 in a victory lane. Congratulations, man. Before we let you go to celebrate your championship here tonight, any sponsor you want to thank here throughout these entire 6 weeks?
Yeah, I kind of accidentally did it earlier, but obviously thanks to my friends Ethan, Harrison, Quentin, Haley. It's fun racing with them today and, all season. And shout out to Tyson Gifford, Limeade Media on Instagram. He posts some really great stuff, so you guys should definitely go follow him and check him out.
All right, about 10-4. Christian Visconti rounds himself out a champion here for tonight's Street Stock Tour for season number 2. Congratulations, man. We'll go ahead and see you coming to the next race.
All right, thank you.
All right, and that'll be it here for tonight. And before we let go for this championship, let's run through this whole entire final restart.
It was certainly a great job, or a great run there for Kiloa and Christian both at the end. I mean, like Colton said in his interview, there was just nothing he could do all alone up at the top. push Kiloa just enough to win. But the thing that caught my eye, and we didn't really see much of it because of the blinking, but Christian almost took it 3 wide for the win out of the last corner, but unfortunately didn't quite have enough of a run to get there. So we'll see that here momentarily.
Yeah, white flag was right here, so everybody shoved themselves into one. You see Colton had the help he needed with Quan, but Quan lost a lot of momentum entering the corner, and I don't think, looks like that might have been Ryan Kame making something happen up there in the high side, and here you go.
Yeah, that was the first move Christian made, but he just had no help to do it. He was able to pull up with Benjamin. Ryan goes behind Christian, and then this is what I was seeing on the last lap. It shuffled out Ryan, and Christian had enough of a run right here to pull it down to the bottom, but kind of lost it, then blinked through everybody. But it was a valiant effort nonetheless, and he would have gotten third, but Benjamin neck-coated right through him. That almost worked.
It almost worked, and it resulted for Hankins in victory lane and Christian a championship here for tonight. So good props to both those drivers.
Yeah, great race all around. Congrats once again to Kiloa on the win and Christian on the championship. And for those wanting to know, it was a 2-point gap between Christian and Colton, and it was another 4 points behind Colton to Justin, who did not show tonight. So congrats once again to everybody here for tonight on a good race and a great street stock season. And be sure to come back in about an hour from now, because we've got the finale of the Super Speedway Series on tap as well. It'll be the Xfinity cars over at Talladega, so that should be a fun one as well. So congrats once again to Kiloa on winning tonight, and we'll see you in about an hour.